All right, now moving on to the negatives, which are kind of funny because I feel like a lot of the stuff that the positives say is the same things that the negatives say. They just have a different way of like observing it. Like they're both like, yeah, the game is fun, but there's this crap in it. And then one person's like, but play it. And the person's like, don't play it, you know? So, okay, let's get this over with. Is it fun? Yes. Is it pretty? Yes. I guess it's pretty. Does it play well? Yes. See the issues. Does it respect your time? No. Is it pay to win? Kinda. Toxic payment schema? Very, very much so. Now for the issues. Oh, okay. I thought we already gone through the issues. The pay to win aspect of the game is there are units you have to unlock, and they take forever to unlock, but you can unlock them instantly with money. They don't respect your time, and so be warned about it. Here they don't respect your time. You don't get any reward for anything. There's no anything. You just play the game, and if you play the game, so be it. But they don't give you any sort of reward. They don't understand that like you have other options. You know, they don't fight hard enough for you to play the game. There are crashes that happen a lot. It only happened to you this person twice, but the issue is that it can get back in the game very quickly. They only give you like 10 seconds to get back through. Like that stuff's just ridiculous. You know, they don't respect. That is not necessarily intentional or anything, but that is not a respect of time. Somebody pulls up into the game, like I said, they get off of work, they're like, I'll do a few games of Gundam Evolution. They play, they get kicked out because of disconnect issues, and then they're having to sit there for, you know, an extra 5 minutes past the time of the game ending, and then it happens twice in the day or whatever, and they're sit there like I don't know. Like it's not as bad as it used to be, but on day like 3 of the release, there were people who had like full day-long bans. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, like, and honestly, it's not even that big of a deal. Just let people autofill in casual, and then people wouldn't have complained about that stuff. Nobody would have cared about getting disconnected, or like people obviously would have cared because they still want to play the game and all that. But if people could backfill and you didn't get punished very hard, nobody would care. Like in Overwatch 2 right now, if you leave games, you leave like 10 games in quick play, then they're like, oh, here's a 75% XP penalty. Like a minus 75% XP penalty. Go play some games and finish them, you know? It's not that big of a deal. But you couldn't play the game, you should get banned. It's just stupid, man. It's casual. Just let it be casual. So, yeah. But anyway, same sort of thing like I was saying. This person is still going to play the game. They just aren't recommending it, right? I'm going to be playing this game still. It is in fact fun. If you're having fun to not pay attention to the issues, go right ahead. Marking does not recommend due to the issues. There are major issues that need to get fixed before anyone else should play the game. So like that's kind of what I'm saying, right? I feel like other people are like, you know, some of these guys out here who say the same stuff, where they're like, recommend it, yeah. And then there's other people who say this, like the exact same thing, basically, but don't recommend it. If like, I don't know, one of my buddies recommended me that like, and asked me like, hey, if like, should you play the game? I would tell them all the issues, and I'd be like, well, make your decision. But it's like, I would basically be like, look, go play the game, pick a character. If you like clicking on things in that game, and you're not frustrated by the way that the game modes are, and you're not like having disconnect issues, and you don't feel like this game is pay to win, have fun, you know? But there's obviously issues. You know, there's definitely obvious issues. All right. I didn't actually read through this full one, so I thought it'd be kind of funny. If you decide to spend a few hours on a session of this game in its current state, here it is roughly what you can expect. Sit in queue for about a minute. Yeah, I mean, it actually takes me a little while to get games now, especially if I play ranked. Get put into a match, except, whoops, one of the players didn't connect properly. Sit through 90 seconds stuck in the pregame lobby for a match that won't happen due to missing players. I do love that part. The game's ability to fill a missing or disconnected player doesn't work, then get booted back to the main menu. Yeah, it's just kind of like, what if the game's not even going to start, just cancel it immediately, right? Repeat the first 3 steps about 6 times until the game actually puts you into a real match. All right, well, I don't actually have that much time. I've not had it happen that many times, but I have had it happen like 2 or 3 times in a row, and you're sitting there and you're just like, okay, this is getting a little bit much. JK, 2 minutes in that real match, someone crashed, and now you're stuck in 10 minutes of a 5v6 or even 4v6 non-game, where neither the team given the free win nor the team that is guaranteed to lose has any fun. Yeah. And then yeah. And I hate it when you lose a game, or you just can't like leave as soon as the as soon as the round ends, or like the match ends, it like makes you sit through the MVP screen and you're getting angry and you're just like mad because you lost and you just want to leave, but they won't let you. Like you're actually being kept captive. Crashing in DCs are so rampant that the developers drastically tone down the penalty for leaving games in progress. This means that even if you wade through all of the above and finally find a match with no one crashing, you almost certainly have at least one player rage quit, resulting in the same problem where the team with the numbers advantage can't lose, but both teams are expected to play through the entire match regardless. I mean, this honestly was people's experience though for like the first 5 days. This wasn't my experience, but I would consistently get messages on my YouTube channel with people being like, I have tried to play the game, I literally can't, I keep getting disconnected over and over and over again. And this is their experience, and this is like, I don't know, bro, small indie dev company, I guess. I mean, Overwatch 2 had the same problem, so I don't know what to tell you. It's kind of just pathetic at this point. But, you know, like, whatever. Whatever, they do need to fix this stuff and then re-advertise because it's a little bit nonsensical at this point. But yeah, like this person is just saying like there's so many other problems here that they'd probably be able to look past, but they can't even get into the game. And it's like, you can do about that. I thought this one was pretty funny. Why does the melee suit have the ability to one-shot every suit in the game? Why is there no counter for them? Why does Exia have 2 million dashes in the hitbox of a noodle? Why does the Unicorn Gundam literally never die? I mean, Unicorn Gundam does die pretty easily, but true, man. Why do the melee suits have the ability to one-shot every suit in the game? Why can Barbatos do that? Why can Exia basically do that? Why can Melee Zaku do that when it ults? Why do like half the characters have those abilities to one-shot in the first place, man? I don't get it. I don't get it either, bro. I don't. All right. It's actually from a viewer of the channel. I just happened to notice this, but the game is a ton of fun, but has balance issues, and some of the maps are just poorly designed. The pros is that this game is far more aggressive and fast-paced compared to Overwatch. Yes, that is it, and that is one of the biggest pros that I haven't talked about too much. I kind of forget to sometimes when I'm getting tilted about the state of the game, but the fact that you can kill things is nice. Like in Overwatch, a lot of people just can't. Like, I don't know if you guys have played it for Overwatch 2, but for example, playing into a Zarya now that's like decent, just don't die, you know? Like the bubble is just getting constantly recycled and over again, and you're sitting there and you're just like, all right, and then you go attack their supports, and their supports are just healing each other and nothing can die. And like that was the problem with Overwatch for me for a long time, and why I know people got salty in my last video because they didn't watch it and they didn't actually realize that I was kind of crapping on both games. But this issue of sustain is like the biggest reason why Overwatch has been terrible for so long, and why it still is terrible, and I'll never fix it. But yeah. So anyway, the action is quick and you get back into action fairly quickly. True. Which can be kind of a problem on 2 CP maps because it's basically like you have 6 wrecking balls running back onto the map constantly over and over, stalling. There are no roles that ever could deal with enough damage to take care of themselves, even the more support-focused Gundam. Mobile suit. But yeah, like there are no roles. There are. They just don't call them that. Everything's damage, damage support, damage tank, damage. But the fact that everything can deal damage and is really good, it's just like, unfortunately, because of all the mobility that they've given certain characters, and the fact that the dashes are so quick to recharge, makes it so even though like a Metis has damage and the ability to escape, it'll just die to like a Zaku. Like the Zaku will just chase it down, and then it'll hide for like a moment and it'll fully rotate. Did my mouse just die? Oh, nope. I can't recommend it though, because there's always at least someone who disconnects, crashes, or just rage quits in about every game you play. Being down a player in this game just makes a game way too difficult to come back from. Yeah, pretty much. Not impossible, but it's highly unlikely you're going to lose. Also, if you want to play free to play, it's going to be painful, as outside of the beginner challenges, the only other way to earn free currency is to go through the battle pass. Which, to be fair, even if you do plan to pay, like I was given some like currency or whatever by Bandai, and I ran through like the battle pass and all that stuff and bought the battle pass. And I'm sitting here and I've gotten everything that they're going to give me in regards to cosmetics except for like 2 little supply pods from the remaining 2 challenges I haven't done yet, the beginner challenges. But I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I don't really have that much. And if I want something, I'd have to like just start chunking money into the supply pods, and that's just not really something most people are going to want to do, But yeah. The fact that you play as mobile suits is the only good thing about this game. Otherwise, it seems like it's just an Overwatch clone that didn't learn much from Overwatch mistakes and took mostly the bad aspects from it. This person understands a lot of stuff actually about this. Like I said, I don't want people to get like upset because I'm just crapping on the game too much, but you got to understand, being overly negative and being overly positive are both bad for the game. If you're overly negative, like not overly, but like constantly just only negative because you're angry or whatever, the devs are going to look at it and be like, well, everything you say is negative, so like we don't trust your judgment. Or if you say that and everything's positive, the devs are like, oh, okay, well, game is fine. You have to be realistic, right? But yes, they really did do this. Like, they're not learning much from Overwatch mistakes, took mostly the bad aspects from it. The one thing that they did learn from was sustain issues. Well, I hope, right? You don't really know what they're gonna do. Like, I'm concerned. I'm concerned that the devs probably started making this game like, honestly, they probably started making it about the time that like Double Shield was running wild in Overwatch, like 2019. I think it might be realistic for this, to be honest. Like 3 years ago. And I think they were sitting there and they're like, I hate shields. And the dude's like, dude, I hate shields. Dude, I hate shields. But they didn't know what the problem was. The problem was to sustain keeping the supports from being undivable, which makes it so you can't just dive the supports and kill them and then the shield tanks fall apart afterwards, right? And you also had to play those shield tanks because they were the only tanks that could survive being bursted down by enemies because the damage was so high and the sustain was so high. And if you want to know more about that, I have a video talking about Overwatch 2 whether Gundam Evolution will become Overwatch 2 and all that nonsense. But right, things like Doomfist is Barbatos. Doomfist is Barbatos. Barbatos is Doomfist. People hate Doomfist in Overwatch 1. They absolutely hated it. Like, anybody from rank bronze up to like masters just hated Doomfist. They're just like, bro, I hate Doomfist so much. I used to get punched into the walls because they didn't know how to defend themselves against it, right? And they absolutely hated it, and they hated everything about that. And that's fair. It's not fun. Like, yeah, there's things you can do about it, but it's just not fun, And they just decided to do the same thing. They added a one-shot character. They didn't learn from the mistakes of Widowmaker being in the game and added Widowmaker, which I can kind of forgive just because of the fact that, like, oh, click heads, haha, cool hype character. Like, whatever. Okay. But that's kind of some of the bigger stuff. Also, 2CP, having 2CP in the game, and people like Overwatch literally taking it out of the game because it was that bad, and then they decided to put it in the game and make it their best game mode. They also didn't learn from the positives of Overwatch. They didn't learn about how good the maps are in Overwatch. They learned from some, they didn't learn from other ones. Anyway, moving on. I'll probably do a whole video about that at some point when I can like think it through a lot more in depth. Gundam Evolution is certainly playable and enjoyment can be found at times. That sounds so like passive aggressive. Enjoyment can be found, maybe, if you're looking really hard, right? Enjoyment can be found at times, but I do not think it's a good game and do not recommend it as a game. If you like Gundam, then it at least has that going for it and is the sole reason I still play it. Since there are so few Gundam games on PC, if you do choose to play it, at least don't waste your money on it since it's free, and I certainly do not feel like you get your money's worth for buying anything in it. Like, this is a lot of the Gundam players too. And that's kind of the stuff I'm a little bit concerned about, is like getting Gundam people who like play the game because it's Gundam, right? And then they hop in and they're like, I hope this game isn't just an Overwatch clone. And they play it and they're like, get slapped down by Barbatos. Like, this is the same thing as Overwatch. I hate it. I hate it. It's a clone. It's a cash grab. Whatever. Why were they just making a clone of Overwatch? And then they'll quit. They'll go back to GBO 2. All right. This is the last one, actually. Even after clocking 76 hours in the game that were mostly ranked, there are many issues that stunted this game's growth. And the release of Overwatch 2 placed the nail in the coffin for this game. Oh, we have a doomer on our hands. I feel some doomer sentiments, but I'm not full doomer or anything. So, you know, we'll see how this goes, right? Because you guys think I'm negative? This guy's more negative. The two biggest points that I believe are rapidly declining the game is the lever system and the currency system. You'd be right. I mean, honestly, yes. Balance can be garbage, but if like you actually can play the game consistently and like you get rewarded for playing it, people would have looked at it and been like, it's okay. Like, they'll fix it. But just like these really like mind-numbingly simple things, like not being able to actually consistently just play a game, people doing that and sitting there and like, oh, it's been like 3 weeks now and I can't play a game still. Right? Like EU's rank system not even being like online or whatever. I don't know. There are rampant levers in the game on both casual and rank side. It leaves a sour taste in your mouth, or his mouth too, or their mouth. Or you lose ranked points even with a lever on your team in the ranked mode. It does not make sense from any logical standpoint to lose ranked points with a lever on your team. There is no notice or confirmation that your report succeeded in a suspension/ban. And there are also some instances that the same lever would end up in his game after the 5-minute penalty. As a competitive player, it discourages him from playing entirely. So, like, I get it. I get tilted about levers too. It's upsetting. But I don't know if you can actually make it so people don't lose points for a lever because of the way that rank systems work. But you could probably, like, honestly, what they probably needed to do is just make it so, like, you don't lose any points for a lever, but they find a way for the system to, like, work it back in, you know? Like, have the lever, like, you know, the people who have a teammate leave, have it actually affect their rating, but the system, like, give them that over time, like, reducing, like, you know, 1 point per match for, like, 50 games or something like that. But I think it would be exploitable otherwise, is what I'm kind of getting at. You know, with how, like, teammates, you could have a teammate, like, leave a game when you're losing, that kind of thing. So I think that's a little bit of a not necessarily great argument. The currency system is very flawed, and you do not gain currency unless you complete your challenges. Even then, free-to-play players will never have enough currency to purchase one of the locked Gundams, which almost feels like a paywall at that point. Well, that's just wrong. That's actually not true at all. Like, I mean, that's just not true. I mean, we complain about it, but that part's not true. The amount of currency you get from opening a duplicate items is also an insanely low amount, so that system also feels terrible. Yeah, it feels pretty bad. And not to mention, you have, like, G3 Gundam in the Charzaku costing like 4K, and I only have like 600, and I've done like everything and opened a few extra loot boxes like with the money that they gave me. It's difficult to find reasons to stay, but I'm doing my best and trying to hold off for the next update. Latest update almost felt like a PR move towards the amount of cheaters in the game, with no other updates on the currency system, ranked mode, or anything useful that will keep the concurrent players around. It's very strange because their developer blog regarding the rank system was amazing, and then a month goes by with no development. I don't typically write reviews, but I really had high hopes for this game, only to be the last of your friend group that's hoping for more. That's kind of sad. This is a sad way to end this video. This line in particular, but I really had high hopes for the game, only to be the last of my friend group that's hoping for more. I do hear that kind of stuff. People being like, yeah, all my friends left. You know, we'll see how it goes, guys. We're hoping, we're waiting for updates and stuff like that. I personally, just my biggest complaint with the whole thing is that they didn't advertise the game, bro. I whine about it too much, but it's just like, didn't even advertise the game, man. Don't know what to tell you. Advertise it, bro. Advertise it. If you're looking for some more Gundam Evolution videos, then make sure to check out my mobile suit guides. I made one for all original to 14 mobile suits, and I did a Should You Main guide series also, covering the same mobile suits and talking about whether you should actually main them in Gundam Evolution or not.